Beth, what can I say? I'm super excited to speak to you today because we need to talk about your achievements, which are unbelievable. But I want to start at the very beginning because I know sport has inherently been part of your DNA and life from a very young age. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the sport that I came from before I started Taekwondo was netball. And that's something that I progressed throughout high school, college, university, and then anything afterwards, 5 years maybe. And then when I found Taekwondo, when I found Anthony, DSW in North Wales, netball went onto the back burner, and that's when the Taekwondo journey began.
Yeah, tell us about that Disability Sport Wales event, because it was one of our kind of in-sport, multi-sport events. So what prompted you to go there? And tell us a little bit about that, because it really was pivotal to where you are now.
Yes, and honestly, one girl giving me the date and time to go was what got the ball rolling. Her name was Chantel Truchon, and I will give her a shout out because she deserves the credit.
Can we all give her a shout out? Chantel.
Shout out. Honestly, so she said to me, Beth, I'm going to do wheelchair basketball in this talent spotting event in North Wales. Do you fancy coming? And I was like, oh, I've never gone to one of them before. So on that Sunday, I drove 1 hour and 20 minutes to North Wales by myself. In I went. And then that's where Anthony came up to me. He gave me a little profile and he scouted me and said, if I could potentially get you a Paralympic medal, will you come down to Cardiff to train? And it was a no-brainer. I said yes. And then that's when the Cardiff journey began as well.
Because that was quite a sacrifice, wasn't it? I mean, obviously you're based up in North and making the journey down to Cardiff. So was it a purpose then to come down and train? And is that where the bug came from, or how you got hooked on Taekwondo specifically?
Yes, so Anthony asked me to travel down once a month. So one weekend in every month. And I started with javelin. And then it was, well, Beth, why not do Taekwondo while you're down here? So in I went to Taekwondo, having never kicked a person or punched a person in my life. It was so I was the person who kept saying sorry for kicking people. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Everyone's like, Beth, you need not say sorry in this sport. It's part of the job. And then, like you said, I got the bug and that was it.
But talk about it being an unbelievable rise to success, because I'm right in saying that you had your first international competition last month in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
And I remember monitoring the results, and Anthony and I were texting and saying, we've got to watch out for Beth and Matt. And then you got gold. And I was like, hold on a minute. This is more than a meteoric rise. You absolutely smashed it out of the park. Just tell me a little bit about that competition, because firstly, did you go there with the thing, okay, nothing venture, nothing gain. Let's see where I am on the kind of world stage with my fellow competitors. Just talk me through that whole weekend, because it's phenomenal.
Like you said, first ever competition, nothing even national, but to go into such a big thing, like one game, Beth, and you are through to Tokyo. It was, I use the word quite a lot, and any person who asks me, surreal. It was just a surreal experience. The whole weekend was fantastic. So just learning things as well. So etiquette, the holding area, what to do, everything. I'm such a sponge at the moment in absorbing all the information that are going into the weekend. Like you said, there was not real pressure, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's see what I can do. And then when the draw came out that it was just one game, Beth, you win it, you get gold, you go to Tokyo. And then that was it. I was focused, so determined. It was like, get on that mat, do what you need to do. And I did. And the gold medal came out of it. So it was, honestly, it was fantastic.
Now, I remember you texting you and absolutely buzzing, which is rightly so. But it's really interesting what you say, because, of course, it's not only getting on the mat and competing, it's what you've alluded to. It's actually having to deal with an international competition and everything else that comes with it. And I'd never thought about that. So you're obviously a bit of a cool customer to kind of deal with that element as well.
I'm not bad. But so, for example, I'll give you the example for when we walked into the actual room where the mats were down. The lights dimmed and it was being televised in the country, and it was like a boxing match. So it was like in the blue corner, in the red corner, and I was like, what is this? It was amazing, but I just was not expecting it. And then obviously after the whole winning and going around and celebrating was then when you came out, and it was all like anti-doping were there, and interview was there, and it was all systems go. And I suppose, like you say, it's good that I'm kind of a go with the flow, deal with it kind of person, because there was a lot following the actual event as well. So the medal ceremony and all things like that. So yeah, it was fantastic. I'm still on cloud nine.
I bet you are. What was it like, the medal ceremony? Because that's a lot to take in. Not only winning gold and being the best in your first international competition, but also knowing that you've booked your flight to go to Tokyo.
I don't think it hit me straight away. I think maybe after the ceremony. So regarding the ceremony, one question that I did ask was, how do I step on? You know, when you go onto a stage like graduation and you're scared you're going to fall. That was one of my first questions. How should I step onto the podium in the most graceful way where I do? So that was a success. But then afterwards, I think when I was sitting on the seat for anti-doping, I was by myself, and I was looking at my medal. I was like, Beth, you're actually going to Tokyo. You've been at GB since the beginning of March. We're now in May. So it'd been at GB two months just over. And I was going to the Paralympic Games in Tokyo. It was amazing. Like I say, Tokyo was never really on the cards for me. It was always Paris was the aim, and Tokyo's just been gold dust, like that hidden thing that you never thought possible, but I've actually done it.
Oh, it's phenomenal. And of course, there's quite a lot of, Welsh representation within the GB Taekwondo squad. And how the likes of, say, Matt Bush helped you as, I don't even want to call you the newbie because you're a champ, but, being relatively new, what's the vibe like in GB Taekwondo, would you say?
It honestly, it's so welcoming when I came in, the team itself, but even the surrounding team, so the Olympic guys and the support staff, and just lovely in that helping me. So, for example, I'm not an expert at Taekwondo. It seems as though I've only been doing it like 2 years. No, not even that. Just under. Everyone just helping me, Matt, helping me on certain kicks, giving me strategic things to hone in on and just iron out. And they've been fab. I can't fault anyone there. They've been fantastic.
And as we get ever closer now to you heading out to Tokyo, sounds good, doesn't it? I love that, heading out to Tokyo. What's the training entail now? Is it still pretty intense, or and where are you at? Are you happy with how things are progressing? Because obviously you've got that experience now of winning and competing in Bulgaria. But what's the next couple of weeks kind of have in store for you before you get on that plane and head out?
So one of the main aspects is focusing on the strengths that I already have in regards to tactical, technical movement, all things like that. And then also focusing on certain elements that can be uplifted to a better level, so that I have an overall holistic kind of package in my arsenal, weapons in my arsenal ready for Tokyo and the different athletes I'm going to come up against as well. There's obviously the analytical side of things as well, studying the opponent, seeing if there's anything we can take from that. And just, the intensity of training is always at that level, but going that extra little mile these next few weeks are needed so that we can push ourselves and get focused ready for the games.
And I guess conditioning is absolutely pivotal, isn't it? Because you talk to elite athletes and the kind of the timing element to get it absolutely on the money for that moment when you walk in and you have your first bout, shall we say, and you're ready, absolutely ready, mentally and absolutely ready as you can, physically in prime condition.
Yes, and conditioning just takes you to that extra level. So you've got 6 minutes, 2 minutes per round, 3 rounds, and making sure you're at that elite max so that you can give your all for them 6 minutes. Obviously 3-4 matches depended on how you do, obviously 4, making sure you can get through and succeed and get the gold.
Now, am I right in thinking away from the mat and away from elite sport, you have a master's in health psychology? Is that right?
Yes.
So a bright cookie as well as an elite and very talented taekwondo fighter. Love that all-round package. But do you think that master's and that study has helped you in preparation for competing on the international stage because of that mental aptitude in the way that you studied for that? Has that helped you, do you think?
Partly, yes. I think knowing the theory behind certain elements of psychology, so for example, the models of certain mental health and knowing the coping strategies needed to cope with daily situations and daily stresses has definitely been an advantage. But also I think my personality comes into that aspect as well. I'm not, or nor have I ever been, quite a stressful individual, even when it comes to life stresses like exams and moving and constant change. So I've had constant change over the last 12 months, having moved down to Cardiff, up to Liverpool, over to Manchester, and seen a change in jobs 4 times. I think my personality is definitely key, but my health psychology masters and my undergraduate has definitely been advantageous coming up to these big stressful events, if you want to call them that. But I take each day as it comes, and obviously I'm striding and rolling with the punches very well. So
just seeing the t-shirt there, have you had your gear yet? Because it's real, isn't it, in terms of just seeing your GB gear? I mean,
yeah,
that must have been a fantastic time to get the kit and think, crikey, I really am part of this now.
definitely. It was like Christmas Day. There was so much. There was so, like, 2 cases and boxes, but when you open the cases, all the kit was inside. And I've never been given anything free in my life, apart from obviously Christmas and birthdays. So it was a little bit overwhelming, but it was amazing. All the kits there. I tried on the ceremony tracksuit. We've got trainers. Oh, it's very nice. Very, very pressed. I don't want to get it dirty, so it's all tucked away, ready for when we go out. But that did add, an element of, right, it's getting real now. It's coming soon, because we've got, what, 9 weeks? Is it 9 weeks?
About 9 or 10 weeks now, yeah.
I think when August hits, I think I've been saying this to a few people, when August hits and the month is there, that's when a little bit more realism might be coming into it. And then slowly but surely, but like I say, you try not to think too far ahead and just take each day, and obviously training is the focus at the moment. So
it's a really interesting one, Beth, but I think of our pathway, performance pathway at DSW, and it's what dreams are made of, what's happened to you, and you are a huge ambassador and advocate that dreams can come true. And it was just that chance of you having the determination to go to that multi-sport event and meeting Anthony, and the rest, as they say, is history. You're just thriving, and I guess you are the best person to tell any of our pathway athletes it could be real, can't it? It can happen.
It really can. Had you said before October 2019 that I would be going to a Paralympic Games, I'd have said, no, not a chance. That's not for me. How? But it was on a bucket list, maybe under the heading impossible, because I never thought it achievable. But honestly, I'm 100% certain in saying that if you have a dream and the opportunity is there, grasp it with both hands, one hand, or how many limbs you may have, grasp it and just take it, because I'm now heading the games. It's just a dream come true. You need to pinch me some days just to be able to to make sure I'm still here and still living the dream.
Well, you are living the dream.
Any disabled individual just needs to take the opportunity and think that dreams are possible, because I am living proof that they are.
Well, I know it comes through hard work and determination, but you're an absolute ambassador for all of us. We're so proud of you here in Wales. We're so excited to see you fight and do your stuff in Tokyo. We'll all be cheering you on. Enjoy it, thrive on it, and be very, very proud, because your achievements are phenomenal. So we wish you all the best. We'll be watching you closely. Good luck, Beth. Take care.
Thank you very much.